I'm going to press on with quick lesson 17, and I thought we'd just move on to a different subject, but one that we hope, or hope that sincerely, will sort of benefit how we're creative around chords, which is the area that I'm trying to sort of focus us on. So I've called this session alternate major chords. So playing those in different positions, that's really what we want to concentrate upon. I'm going to start with the good old C, because that's the one that we know and love, and really focus upon just adding fingers in to what is a C sound, and see if we can actually sort of build on that, and then give you something else to enhance whenever you're playing C chords to do something sort of slightly different, and it will be up to you exactly how you actually apply them. Okay, this is very much these number of lessons over the sort of coming week or so are really a sort of an interim to building up to something else that I want us to do. So so this is sort of a part-way stage, to that, but more of that later. Hopefully that will be intriguing for you. All right, so let's have a look at a good old C and see what we can do with it. Hopefully you can still hear if I move the mic slightly out of the way. Right, encouraging you to use your first finger for C. So getting versatile with using different fingers and not getting hidebound by it has to be the third finger, which is how we learned in the first place, which is absolutely valid and quite right to do. But now we want to use our first finger, and the reason why I'll explain is because we want to use these fingers as well, and if we do that, then we can't sort of do that. That gets harder to do. So I'm encouraging you to use your first finger for for these chords. All right, so we're going to start with C, right? Good old C, right? Then what I want you to do is to now you've got two alternatives, but I didn't put it into the sheet because it starts to get confusing. Is to bar the first two strings, right? And you get a nice sort of fully sort of sound to the C. It's still part of a C chord, right? So it's valid. It's entirely valid for us to do. So just do that for me first of all, and just have a strum around. For example, C, bar, C, bar. Okay, if you're not used to barring, then that's something you're going to have to get used to, or if you want to do this, you'll need to get used to. So that might be practicing on your own sometime, but the principles I will show you today in the time we have available. All right, so on my four, let's just play 1, 2, 3, 4 normal C, 1, 2, 3, 4 barred C, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bar 2, 3, 4. Okay. Hopefully that's not too difficult for you. Probably some of you obviously will find that very easy to do. Others, it will come to you if you do it over and over and over again, which is what you have to do when you're learning. Okay, so from our bar, now we've got that on, right? And somebody was talking last week, this is where the pressure from your thumb becomes important now. When you were learning before, thumbs were all over the place, and it possibly didn't matter. But whenever I was teaching somebody, I always said that a good principle, because I know where you're going. Once you get good at doing one thing, then once you move on, and it will become a new skill you've got to learn to put your thumb behind. Right? Remember, I angle mine off, right, pointing upwards. That seems comfortable to me. You do whatever is right for you. Okay, so now we've got our C and we've got our bar. Right, now we're going to use our second finger, right, and we're going to place that on the 4th fret of the C string. Just have a strum around, see if you can get that nice and crisp. If it's thumping, then it's because the finger is possibly lying down on the E string, right? That's typically what will happen. So the more you can stand your hand up, right, the better it will come down onto the strings. That will be probably, if you've not done this before, that will probably be the single biggest thing that you'll have to overcome. You won't do that in 2 minutes flat, but you do need to check that every string rings out nicely. If it does, then it's right. If it doesn't, then move your fingers around a bit until it does. Okay, so now we've got our bar, and we've got our second finger on the C string at the 4th fret. Just play that now. All right, if that is sounding okay, well done. I'm sure that will come very, very, very quickly to you if you just practice it over and over again. So now we're part way to a full new C chord in a different position. Okay, and all of those positions, whether it's that, bar, finger, are all absolutely valid and fine to use within a piece of music that you're playing when you're playing a C chord. They're all elements of C, and they will all sound fine. In fact, they will sound interesting, as you'll see in a minute. Okay, now our final option is to use our 3rd finger, right, on the 5th fret of the G string. Okay, so we're going to drop that finger down, right? So we've got our bar. Now this will start to feel, I'm pressing now and I'm holding it, and I wouldn't ordinarily be holding it for this long, and that is starting to put pressure on my my tendons. So be very, very careful. If you have anything at all, any problems with fingers or anything like that, don't do any of this at all. Do not put pressure on your finger. And like, I need to now do that, because that is really starting to hurt. Okay, so be very, very careful, because you will be tensioning at the moment because you're trying to learn something. So just be wary of that, and ease into doing things like this. Okay, so if you're able to do that, put this 3rd finger down on the G string at the 5th fret, right? Then you've now got a full C chord in what is really 2nd position, although I refer to cheekily down here as being 2nd position. It isn't really. Original C, that's going to be 1st position, 2nd position. So, okay, now just have a little go for a minute or two about all of those, putting none on, bar on, finger on, finger on. Right, just have a go on your own doing that, because you'll all do it at different paces, just whilst I will go over. Right, there is an option, if you want, instead of barring, you can actually use your 2nd finger, right, and place that above your original C for the bar, right? Then you would have to use your 3rd finger, right, on the C string at the 4th fret, but then it means you've got to use your pinky, right? Which is why I didn't try to confuse everyone by saying, well, there are other options. There are always other ways of playing things, and if they work for you, then they're absolutely right. There is no absolute Dave Jones way of saying, got to do it this way. Whatever works for you is absolutely right. If you can make these chords or make these shapes, then they're fine for you. Okay, so don't get hidebound by what I'm saying. I'm just giving you one way, so we don't introduce too much confusion for you. All right, okay, so if we've got all of those now, what we're going to do is the exercise that I put at the bottom of the sheet 17, which is a simple, play 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah. If it's sounding good, then you're really getting there, and you're really now enhancing your chords. All right. So at the bottom of quick lesson 17 is an exercise chart. You can make your own up as well. They don't have to be in this format, but it's just an example for you to say it's how it's how I do it when I'm learning, because you can't just haphazardly sit there and just do something. You've got to be disciplined in how you learn. Okay, so from C, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second finger. And so on. And so you'll hear that sound build up. Okay, so you can da 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 da, but they're all C, so they're all absolutely valid, right? But they're adding a different sound to C. So immediately now, along with all the other things that you've been doing over the weeks, if you've stuck with it, you've got a lot of variety in your playing, and it will be certainly noticeable to you if you're just playing on your own, right? But when we're all playing together, then you will get, instead of getting a danky 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 sound, you will get a lot of variation with the sound. But we're all playing C. All right. So so what we want to do is to link those all together now to a count of 4. So you know, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Okay. Right. So that's why we want to play first finger, and you will get used to coming, for instance, from say an F, and you'll just naturally just drop your finger on instead of going. And then so on and so forth, right? So it will just become normal to you to actually do that. All right, so let's go through that exercise chart. 4 counts for each of them. So normal C, C first position, which is the bar, C second position, which is adding our third finger in. And then we go back down, so we have to do another 4 on our C third finger, and then we take a finger off, and we take another finger off until we end up with back on the C. All right, is that, hopefully that's not too confusing. All right, but just join in whenever you can. In any case, that's the that's the main point. All right, so on a gentle count of 4, this is not a race. I'm simply going to do down strums. It's not important to actually get up to speed with strumming, etc., until you've got the. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So how did we get on? How was that for you? Fairly simple, fairly basic. It's almost like sort of going back to base 1, and we can get very impatient, quite frankly, when you can actually play to to a level. It just feels as though you're going backwards, but in actual fact, these are the things you have to do. Remembering how you learned in the first place, you had to go through that pain barrier. Every time you learn something new, you've got to go through the pain barrier. But it will get easier and easier because you're all competent players at any rate. So it gets easier to. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a 4 count, right? And what I want you, but I'm just going to play C, right? And what I want you to do is to play the variations that you've just learned. And hopefully, if you've got my sound coming over there, you've got C in the background, and then you've got a different sound. So it's almost as if there are two players at least there, or if there are more than 2 of you there, then the bonus is sort of 3. Okay, so again, only very slowly, very gently. It's not erased. It's not intense. Now I can do this at normal speed. That's up to you to to learn if you want to do these things. All right, so on my count of 4, and I'm just simply going to strum 4 for that exercise chart. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, did anyone manage at that sort of pace to move through the phases and hear the different sounds? If not, then stick with it. You will. And if you got some thudding going on, well, let's remember that is just about finger placements. That's all right. Okay, great. Okay, well, 1 or 2, you said 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's fine. That's really good. Okay, so we'll do that exercise again, and then obviously we'll obviously wind up for the morning. So thank. Right. Okay, we might do it. Shall we do it a little bit faster this time? Let's dare to push ourselves. Okay, so on my count of 4, go through that pattern. So we go through it. The second line is coming back again. So you've got to stay on that that full C for another 4 before you start going back again, just in case that's not clear. All right, so on my count of 4, a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Was that okay for some of you? A little bit faster. Yeah, we're getting up to usable speed then. All right. If it is, or if it isn't, then you just keep on going at a pace which is right for you until you've got the principles of making them clean. Once you can make them clean, then and only then speed up. Okay. I like all the I like that. Yay! Thanks. Okay, brilliant. All right then. So that's our first foray into playing alternate major chord positions. Right. We're going to move on next week, and we'll look at maybe we might be able to look at 2, at the same time. Now you've got the principle. All right. So. Speed up when you're ready to. Make sure you've got clean sound on each string, right? And then obviously once you can do that, then move on to your strumming, which is an up down strum or a down down up down, whatever you want to do. Just try all those variations, and then do try putting this some elements of that chord into maybe a sequence or a song where C is held, and just see if you can just add some interest that way when you're playing a C. Then you can lift your fingers off. You can use any parts of them. It doesn't have to be the full C. Any of those parts will add interest in just the same way as the other things you've been doing will add interest. Okay, so going to close down now and see you in a moment or two, and maybe a few more will join us, but we have actually 26 plus the couples on, so probably probably everyone is going to be on is actually on now, to be honest. So, but I'll just close down now. So thank you very much again. Once again, I'll do a video of it just to explain. Okay, so see you soon.